guys. Hey, get over here. Okay, so first of all, she's mad because I haven't introduced her. This is Lily. This is my new pugger. I got her last month and we are bestest friends. First of all, I just really freaking love vlogging. Whether anybody watches it or cares to watch it or not, I think it's super fun. Secondly, okay, 1 second please. Yes, we are going to let you free. Come on. Hey, Mama. I mean, Grandma. Okay, bye. I have gotten a lot of questions since I've graduated high school about school and like, why did I pick the major that I picked? How do I handle it? All of those sorts of things. I really love school and I love talking about school and sharing like my journey with school and how I study and things like that. I remember when I started my dietetic program, I always was YouTubing like how to survive dietetic programs. I really just thought it'd be beneficial to like walk you through my experience as a dietetics major and how I study, how I prioritize. We'll just go into that, okay? So I hope this helps somebody. If nobody watches this but my grandma, that is fine. I always knew that I wanted to do dietetics, but I never really thought like that I could do it because I knew it was so challenging. They literally told you in your orientation for dietetics, they're like, hey, if you're not good at science, like there's the door. And I was like, oh crap, like, but I really like nutrition. I think it's super cool, so I'm gonna just do it. I'm gonna tell you how somebody like me who is very right-minded kind of survived, if you will, or got through the very left-brain dietetic program. So the dietetic program is strictly science and nutrition classes, yeah. So it consists of Gen Chem, Chem 2, organic chemistry, biochemistry, all the biologies, physiology, anatomy, microbiology, all of that. So that is kind of what constitutes the dietetic program. That's why they warn you that it's so rigorous and you have to really be prepared to take it. And so how did I survive this? Well, let me tell you. Like I said, coming into college, I was not prepared for this at all. So they kind of say give it like a year, give it your freshman year to kind of figure out your study habits. I totally agree with that. I think that is so true. It takes a lot of trial and error. So my freshman year, I had to take both of my chemistry classes, so Gen Chem and then Chem 2, which is very mathy. I hated that class. And so what I did right away was I utilized a tutor, and so I would go to group tutoring sessions, but I also purchased like my own tutoring session. So once a week I would meet up with this tutor and we would just get coffee together and go through all the content and write on the whiteboards, and it was super great. If you're somebody who really benefits through like talking through material, I would highly recommend one-on-one tutoring. It wasn't until like sophomore year when I had organic chemistry that I really found my groove with studying. So I found it most helpful for me to find somewhere first that I'm comfortable and then make that consistent. When I say comfortable, I do not mean your bedroom. If you study in your bedroom, good for you. That's awesome. I personally am way too comfortable at home, and so I need to be out in an external environment. I prefer like a coffee shop, that's where I study best, or somewhere on campus that isn't the library. Granted, I do study in the library, but kind of as a last resort. I study best where there's like some background noise, some people kind of hanging out, not everybody's in the books. Starbucks, yeah, totally a Starbucks person. I do not care what you think about it. I will just go there, pull out my content, and study away. Like getting a warm drink really helped me. I don't know, something about having like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee next to my study materials just was really soothing. I normally study for between 2 to 4 hours on like a Saturday or a Sunday, and that's like my big study day. And then during the week, I'll usually go to the library between classes for like an hour or half an hour and just get some content written out. I'm just gonna really be specific and break up like my exact study habit that really I have seen reap the most benefits. The grades have shown. This is like my engraved study habit that I follow. I made the purchase of getting a, hold up, I'll be right with you. Oh, right, okay. 1 second, thanks. Ah! Made the purchase of a iPad. I don't even know what it is, like it's not the Pro, I don't really care. And I also got myself a Apple Pencil, and so this was inspired by my friend Dana. She gets credit for this idea, but what I found to help me most was recording my professor's lectures. I was in microbiology this year, and so that class was incredibly rigorous. I needed to listen to every lecture. I also was in a advanced human metabolism class, which was I will just show you, for example, what that was like. For example, like figures that looked like this, if you can see that. And so this pencil was a lifesaver because I can literally just like transcribe everything she says as a pencil on my screen. I can write right on the PowerPoint, and it helped a lot. I would recommend asking your professors if you can record them, just in case anybody is uncomfortable. You don't want to get into like any trouble. But like I would ask my professors if it was okay if I recorded them, and then if they said yes, which thankfully they all did, I would just, for example, record them when they were talking. This isn't really showing up. What's really special about this app, I should probably tell you the app. It's called Notability. What's really awesome about it is as I'm re-listening to all my professors' lectures, I can just go through, and if I'm like following what I was writing on there, I just literally like click where I wrote, and it will repeat what the professor said at that exact moment, and I can just like retain that information a lot stronger. And so back to like what I do for studying. So it normally goes like this. So I'll go to the lecture, and then within that same day or like a couple days after, I will pull out my iPad, get my headphones, go sit somewhere on campus, and I will purchase, I usually do like a 5-star notebook, and this is strictly for rewriting professor notes. So I will literally re-listen to the lecture, and I will transcribe like in my own writing every single PowerPoint and listen to what they're saying. I will write little side notes, things that I didn't necessarily write down on the PowerPoint slides. I will rewrite on here, and it just really helps me to see it all written out, really connect like my brain to the pencil. And so once I rewrite all the professor notes, that is typically like good for a couple days until it gets to be like a week before the test. Then I really need to start like in-depth studying. And so this is really cheesy, but I will reserve a room, and I'll get a bunch of whiteboard markers, and I will literally like write every single like little process down on the board, and I will like teach my class, right? But like nobody's there, so I'm just talking out loud. But it's super funny too, because like people will like walk by and they'll kind of look at me like, who is she talking to? And I'm like, nobody, I'm talking to no one, but it's really helping my brain. So I'll teach, pretend I'm teaching a class, and I've learned that I learn best through teaching other people, so that really helps me. So that's like kind of what I'll do to like really solidify the information, and then I'm usually good for test day. Sometimes if it's like really extensive material, like for example my advanced metabolism course with all of the information, I would, after I wrote it down in my notebook from the slides, I'll get up a Google Doc, and I will like organize the information. Like this says protein figure 1, and I will like write the process of whatever in Google Docs, and then I'll print them off. And when I'm like teaching my class, you know, I will use this as like teacher notes, and I'll like read off everything that I wrote and like draw it on the board. I use this planner. It's super cute. I really benefit from like fun colors and things like that, and so this is from Michael's, and it's just really pretty, but also really helpful. So I write all my due dates and like test days and everything on this sheet, and then on each page I write a to-do list on the end of every single day. That's like what I need to get done that day, and then I also write down my schedule up here. Typically I have a goal in mind, like whatever is written down here will get done before I go to bed. So that's pretty motivating. I just got these for Christmas. I am like the biggest nerd you will ever meet. I am so stoked about these fine liner pens. They're like little baby markers, but they are going to be so helpful in organizing material. I take anatomy next semester, so this will hopefully really help me like draw the different body parts and label them and keep colors organized. I don't know. I think colors really help learn material. I don't know about you, it helps me. One last thing I guess that I do for studying is I do utilize my textbooks. I know that that's really subjective. Some people do not benefit from textbooks. I personally need textbooks. If I don't understand the material in the lecture, I will go into the textbook to that specific chapter, take a note card or a highlighter, whatever, highlight that section, and then write like a little sticky note on the side, like exactly what the book says. You can't really mess up the process if it's in the textbook, because that is what the professor teaches out of. So I totally utilize textbooks. A lot of this stuff might seem cut and dry, but it's truly what has gotten me through this program. Dietetics is incredibly challenging. I think it is completely overlooked. It is basically a pre-med program, except you don't take calculus or physics, but everything else is in there, and they do expect you to stay above like a 3.5 GPA to be competitive. It is a 50% match rate, and so your grades do really matter. Obviously, they're looking for somebody who is well-rounded. If you're not doing extracurriculars and volunteer work, I would really highly recommend doing some of that. I do a lot of undergraduate research, which is really fun, and it's really nice to just look into your community, see something you're passionate about, and like volunteer. It doesn't have to be completely geared towards what you're going to school for. So yeah, I don't think I need to share my GPA, that's not necessary, but all of these study techniques have definitely gotten me to a very comfortable GPA. Find somebody that you really click with in studying. So I have a best friend, Maya, and she's a very big picture learner, whereas I'm very detail oriented. So we will intentionally study across from each other, and while we're doing our own thing, if she has a question about a detail, she'll ask me, and if I have a question about like a big concept, if I'm getting lost in the details, I will ask her, and we collaborate. But yeah, that is how I have gotten through all of these horrifying science classes. It is really funny because people will literally look at me and be like, nope, you were definitely not a science person in high school. Newsflash, I never ever saw myself doing a science intensive major until I started just putting in the time, finding a place that I was comfortable studying in, and really utilizing time management skills to further my knowledge in science. And now I am at a place where I'm super comfortable with where I'm at academically and feeling really confident about getting into grad school. So please comment or message me if you're a dietetics student watching this and you just want to know more details. Let's talk. I would love to help you out. But I hope this video was helpful, and I hope it explained to those of you family members and friends who are always wondering how I managed this. There is your answer. Thanks for listening if you did, and Merry Christmas.